Hi, my name is Jenna. I think this is the third time all year I've remembered to introduce myself before beginning. So my name is Jenna, and this is Books Love Jenna, as in those books, they just love her. And we are about to do my December TBR. The tree is up. The Thanksgiving garland is still up. Thanksgiving hasn't happened yet in the States, but you know, need a little Christmas cheer. So here we go. I have two huge stacks in front of me. One is Christmas holiday themed. One is just some books that I think will fit really nicely for this TBR. I also have a small stack of 3 collections of short stories that I'm going to read from. So for the last few years, I'd say maybe this is my 4th or 5th year doing this, I have read, as kind of like an Advent experience, a short story each day in the month of December. So the 3 books that I have, one is one that I like to listen to, and I've always listened to it. I never owned a copy of it until this year when I finally just picked up a copy at Better World Books. I will probably still listen to it, but I'd like to read along because there are some lines in here that I know that I just really love and want to do something with. I want to put them in a commonplace book or post them somewhere or make some kind of bookmark with them. There are some lines in here that I just really, really love, and I want to collect them. I purchased a copy of it, even though probably I will listen. This is Christmas Days, 12 Stories and 12 Feasts. This is by Jeanette Winterson, and it's meant to be read over 12 days. So it's like a 12-day Advent, and I will love revisiting this. Again, I do it on the down low pretty much every year. On the down low meaning I don't generally put it on a TBR because it's just something that I'm listening to in the background. But this year, it's officially TBR ready. I also picked up this collection, also from Better World Books, by Val McDermid. I've never read anything by Val McDermid, but I hear she writes really great mysteries. So this is Christmas is Murder, a chilling short story collection. There are 12 short stories in here. So together, I have 24 short stories, which is perfect. But I also picked this up in a little free library. This is Historical Christmas Stories. There are 3 stories in here. This was published by Harlequin in 1989. And at the very beginning, there's a little note in here saying, this is our first installment of these Christmas historical short stories. And we just launched our historical line of stories the year before, so 1988. I grabbed this because I think it's just a really fun thing to have in my library. It would have sold for $4.25 originally. I can imagine, you know, those racks that spin around that had all of these pocket size books, which were the normal size of book to purchase, at least in my life. I can imagine them in the store aisles, in the precursor stores to like Target and Walmart. I can totally imagine the store I would have been shopping in if I ran into this, which I probably did, because this book would have been where all of the L.M. Montgomery books were in those racks that spin. So probably I saw this. But I grabbed this not only because I thought it would be a fun addition to any library, even if I don't get along with the stories, even if I don't read the stories. There is one story in here, which when I looked through the book, trying to decide whether to keep it or not, to bring it home or not, I was like, that story sounds so familiar. And I think that I read the story in a magazine, like in a woman's home journal or something. So I'm pretty sure that these are gonna be very clean romances as well, despite them being from Harlequin. I'm not very familiar with Harlequin, but growing up, that was like the romance publisher. So I think these are pretty, as the folks say, clean, meaning, you know, low spice or low content, whatever you want to call it. Clean is a weird word, but or closed door, whatever. But I do think that they will be Hallmark movie type stories set in the past. And I think probably poorly written, but I'm really curious and I'd like to read at least the one that feels familiar to me. Also, I love that for each short story, the author has included There are 3 authors, but the author for each short story has included some kind of recipe and an explanation of the recipe that ties both their own real life and the characters in their books' lives together. So I'll read at least one of the 3 stories in that set of short story novellas, but maybe I'll read them all. I don't know. But that is my 25 short stories for this year. And I think it's going to be a fun short story year. Now, do I want to go through my holiday stack or my not holiday stack first? Let's do the holiday stack first. I'm going to be the first to admit to you that I have a lot of holiday books in this stack, and I don't really know the synopsis of any of them. Yes, I do just purchase holiday books without reading about them. So here we go. I'm also going to find out what these are all about. The first one, I can probably tell you without reading the back what it's basically about, because I read a Christmas book by this author every year, and I have done so since before I was on BookTube or Bookstagram. So that's Anita Hughes. Anita Hughes puts out a new Christmas book pretty much every year. They're always the same, but they have a different location and a slightly different problem, and the characters have slightly different personalities. But mainly they're the same story over and over, and it works. I'm here for it. It is the Hallmark movie equivalent. It's the book Hallmark movie equivalent. But I love them, usually. Last year I didn't really enjoy that story very much, but the year before, I really did. Christmas at the Ranch was a big win. This one is Christmas in Aspen. So let's find out the subtle differences in this particular story. So editor Carolyn Holt is on her way to her late mother's upstate cabin in Hudson to spend the holidays. Yeah, there's usually travel involved. She was supposed to be in London having a holiday romance, but this Christmas she isn't in the mood to get her heart broken again. Carolyn loves being an editor, but in the last year, burnout has taken over. She has been mourning her mother, and she has been looking to get that spark back. In the cabin, Carolyn finds a letter. It's in a red envelope, and the return address is Santa's little red mailbox in Aspen, Colorado. The letter is from a man declaring his love for her mother. He'll be waiting for her at that same address on New Year's Eve. So we got a little Sleepless in Seattle action happening with a dead woman. That's new. Unable to ignore her curiosity, Carolyn takes the next flight to Aspen to track down her mother's lover. That's a choice. Things start getting complicated. Oh, they start to get complicated when she meets another man. The more they run into each other, the more she's drawn to him. And when Carolyn finds out the truth about the mysterious person her mother had loved, she unravels secrets about her own past. By the end of Christmas week, Carolyn gets a chance to rewrite her own destiny by confronting her fears of loving again and possibly leaving behind what she thought was a perfect life. I mean, it sounds good. It sounds a little implausible, and that's a need in a holiday romance. So I'm excited to read a new Anita Hughes again this year. All right, I grabbed this earlier this year from Book Outlet. I think it was in a Book Outlet haul. I don't know what it's about, but I do remember seeing this cover. I remember people talking about this last year, and I do think that it is Christmassy. I haven't read it, but I think it is Christmassy. So let's find out. This is Beth O'Leary. I've never read anything by Beth O'Leary. I'm familiar with other things that she's written, but I've not read anything. This is The Wakeup Call, a novel. So this says, it's the busiest season of the year. Well, that could be summer or winter, I suppose, because I think this takes place at a hotel. Yeah, 2 hotel receptionists. So let's keep going. It's the busiest season of the year. The Forest Manor Hotel is quite literally falling apart. So when Izzy and Lucas are given the same shift on the hotel's front desk, they have no choice but to put their differences aside and see it through. The hotel won't stay afloat beyond the holiday season without some sort of a miracle. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if this is Christmas or summer. I think it is Christmas, but we'll keep going. But when Izzy returns a guest's lost wedding ring, the reward convinces management that this might be the way to fix everything. With 4 rings still sitting in the lost and found, the race is on for Izzy and Lucas to save their beloved hotel and their jobs. As their as their bitter rivalry turns into something much more complicated. Izzy and Lucas begin to wonder if there's more at stake here than the hotel's future. Can the two of them make it through the season with their hearts intact? So actually, I don't know if this is Christmas or summer, because the season in a hotel world could be anything. Oh, November. Okay, it's gonna be Christmas. It's gonna be Christmas. Awesome. Well, that sounds super fun. So I guess they find a ring, they return the ring, and they get a big reward, and they think that returning the 4 other rings that have been sitting in the lost and found will save the hotel. Hopefully it'll be enjoyable. Okay, this one I also got from, probably in the same box, from Book Outlet earlier this year. I haven't done an order since the summer, so I was just picking up possibilities. And so this is One Christmas Morning by Rachel Greenlaw, and I'm sad because it got kind of bent in shipping, but that's fine. Let's read about it. It says, oh, have I shown you the cover? I'm looking at the cover, so I assume you can see it. So here's the cover. All right, let's see. So it says, Eva has spent the past 3 years burying herself in her work, trying to forget the heartbreaking events of the Christmas that ripped her world apart. This year, the last thing she wants is to attend her friend's weekend-long Christmas party, but at her husband James's insistence, here they are. When Eva, overwhelmed by bittersweet memories, tries to sneak back to London in the middle of the night, she is visited by the ghost of her beloved grandmother. Gran tells Eva that if she doesn't face her fears head-on and stop shutting out her loved ones, she risks losing them all forever. When Eva wakes on Christmas morning, she finds herself living not her own life, but that of her hard-working assistant Diana, whose overflowing inbox isn't the only secret she's been keeping. The next day, Eva wakes on Christmas morning again, this time in the body of her best friend's little sister. As Eva lives the same day again and again, through the perspective of her friends, she glimpses the lives of those she has been pushing away. With each day comes a new lesson and an insight into the secrets and struggles her loved ones have been hiding. To move forward, Eva must let go of the past, but is it too late to fix her future? Well, it's a Christmas book, so I'm gonna guess it's not too late. That sounds interesting. A little Groundhog Day, a little Christmas Carol. Yeah, sounds fun. Okay, this one, so pretty, so pretty. This is by Lynn Austin. She put out another Christmas book a couple of years ago, same size, same hardcover, which was a continuation of a series. It was also a historical fiction. I can't remember what it's called. A Wish Book Christmas Catalog Christmas. It was the continuation of a series. I never read the series. I only read the Christmas book because I didn't realize it was a series until I read it. It was set in the 40s or the 50s, early 50s. Must have been early 50s because it was after World War II. And it was about 2 women who have a long history. I won't tell you their history, but you can figure it out in the book. They have a whole series of back books of history. And a little boy who has like a Sears wish book, Christmas wish book, and has a bunch of toys in it that he wants to buy. Like he's marked the things that he's hoping for, but they don't have much money. This one is a standalone. It's called Waiting for Christmas, and I think it takes place in the 1800s based on the cover. Let's see what it's about. Oh, 1901. So the year is 1901, and the hustle and bustle of the holidays is descending on New York's Fifth Avenue. For the first time in her privileged life, Adelaide Forsyth couldn't be happier about the prospect of a quiet Christmas. That's not to say her transition from Miss to Mrs. has been without challenge. Though she doesn't regret marrying for love instead of wealth, she feels woefully unprepared to run her own household. Then, on the first Sunday of Advent, winter winds bring surprising change, first through a young orphan boy and then a seasoned housekeeper who seems too good to be true. The boy, Jack, claims he isn't an orphan at all and is desperate to reunite with his family, while Adelaide and her husband work tirelessly to solve the riddle of Jack's story. Adelaide's new endeavors open her eyes to a world beyond her past experience and all the possibility it holds. As Christmas approaches, small glimmers of wonder light the way toward the answers Adelaide seeks and the most miraculous gift of all. So, that sounds feel good and lovely. I love a good historical. This is the Merry Matchmaker. I might have pre-ordered this, to be fair. I don't remember. Christmas books started being pre-orderable in September, and I pre-ordered several, which just looked really good. This might have been one of them. This, The Merry Matchmaker, by Sheila Roberts. I've never read anything by Sheila Roberts that I know of. So this is Frankie Lane knows what's best for just about everyone but herself. Her divorced sister Steph, who is too young to give up on love, her shy employee Eleanor, and her daughter Natalie, who works in Frankie's shop, Holiday Happiness, and really needs to start her own business selling the delectable chocolates that she makes at home. Even her best friend Viola, who is trying to renovate her old Victorian. That was all one sentence, friends. Frankie knows she couldn't help all of them if they just, she could help all of them if they just let her. And if all of her help didn't end up in utter disaster. Well, I wonder why they won't let you help. Then there's Mitch Howard, the owner of the local hardware store. They've been friends ever since Frankie opened her store 9 years earlier. He got her through the nightmare when she lost her husband in a freak accident, and he's her favorite shoulder to cry on. He's been divorced for years, and it's such a waste of man. Mitch is the fittest, finest man Frankie knows. He's easygoing, wise, and kind-hearted. Mitch needs someone, and she's determined to help him find that someone, whether he likes it or not. I think this might be a retelling of... Oh, it says it right at the very top. Inspired by Jane Austen's Emma, this joyful Christmas romp tells the story of a woman who can't stop trying to help everyone around her find their happily ever after, even when her help leads to disaster. So I think we all know how this is going to end, but it sounds like it's going to be fun and funny to get there. Maybe a little heartfelt, maybe a little tear jerk every once in a while, but that sounds really fun, really fun. I know I pre-ordered this one and I know a little bit about it, but I'm going to go ahead and share the back as well. This is Sarah Morgenthaler, and I have read a couple of things by Sarah Morgenthaler, but this is Sarah Morgenthaler's The Christmas You Found Me. So this one is about, this is a father and a daughter and another woman. Not in that way. Like, let's read about it. Let's read about it. So 'tis the season for a miracle. Sienna Naples' family has taken care of their wild Idaho land for generations, and Sienna can't imagine any other life. But at Christmas time, with her painful marriage finally over, it's full of memories and incredibly lonely until a tall, handsome stranger and a little girl walk into her life, and suddenly, as I said, suddenly, the holidays are alive again. When single father Guy Maples shows up as the result of a joke ad gone awry, he isn't joking. Times have been hard, and Guy's 4-year-old daughter Emma needs a kidney transplant. But if Guy can't prove financial stability, she won't stay on the transplant list. Guy is willing to do anything, including marrying a stranger to save Emma. It's an impulsive marriage of convenience, and Sienna knows this isn't real. No matter how much she adores Emma, how well Guy fits into her ranching life, or how much light and laughter is coming into their lives as a result. The more time she spends with her newfound family, the more she fears losing the fragile, feisty little girl and the kind, devoted, hardworking man who is her husband. But is it only in name? This sounds adorable. I would really, really like to prioritize this one. This I did pre-order as well because I love this author. I absolutely love this author. This is Christmas at the Little Paris Hotel by Rebecca Raisin. She is a British author. She writes kind of like Anita Hughes, like really predictable books that are always kind of the same but slightly different, and I find them so comforting, and I can generally read them in one sitting. So this is Rebecca Raisin's Christmas at the Little Paris Hotel. Now, I know this is part of a series. I don't think you have to read anything she writes in any kind of order. So here we go. When Anais receives, I never know how to say that name, A-N-A-I-S. Anais? 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 I'm just gonna keep going around in circles. So let's just say Anais. When Anais receives a near derelict Paris hotel from her ex-husband, her first thought is to tidy it up and sell it immediately. All she wants is to move on and forget her disaster of a marriage ever happened. How many of these books have had some kind of broken marriage, widowing, disastrous marriage? Like most of them, fake marriage, they all have to do with marriage. I did not do that on purpose. All she wants is to move on and forget her disaster of a marriage ever happened, but selling it proves impossible. So she has only one option: to make it gorgeous and open by Christmas. That's your only option, of course. When her funds will most certainly run out. She's not counting on the grumpy American bar owner next door, Noah, coming and interfering at every moment though. Nor is she expecting to find a mysterious room, which holds the key to a 100-year-old secret about a woman who chose love against the odds. One thing's for sure, as the fairy lights twinkle all over the city of lights and the first snowflakes start to fall, this will be a Christmas in Paris to remember. I'm gonna love it. I tried to read this last year and I didn't get to it. I only had an audio of it last year, but this year I was able to pick up a copy from Book Outlet. And so this is Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. A couple of years ago, I read the first installment in this Christmas Bookshop series. So there's the Christmas Bookshop, which I loved, and there's Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop. Jenny Colgan and I are hit or miss. Like, I love some of her books and I hate some of her books. So I loved the Christmas Bookshop, and I hope that means I will also love Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop. I think I will. I also have the audio for this, so definitely we'll get to that one. I have two little novellas. One came out last year. It's such a pretty book that I hope I love this. I read my first Peter Swanson this year, so this will be my second Peter Swanson. This is The Christmas Guest, and it is tiny, tiny, tiny. I don't know what this is about. I didn't tell you what Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop is about either. Should we go back? Yeah, let's go back. So, Christmas comes early, far too early, to Macready's little old town bookshop in Edinburgh. It's summer, hot with long daylight hours, but an American production company has decided that Macready's is the perfect location to film a very cheesy Christmas movie. After all, who can resist the charmingly narrow historic interest with its Victorian gray stone buildings and warmly lit shop windows? Carmen Hogan, who has taken over the day-to-day running of the bookshop, is amused and a bit horrified by the goings-on. But the money the studio is paying is too good to pass up. So I'm going to stop before it gives you any more spoilers, but this is about Carmen. In the first book, she is kind of down and out. She's been let go from her job. She doesn't know what she's going to do. Her sister's like perfection and raising perfect children, and she's the kind of like mess up aunt. And she gets a job because her experience is in retail. So she gets a job at a bookstore, but this bookstore only sells, it's run by a man who kind of lives in the back of the bookstore. Not weirdly, there's an apartment back there, so lives in the back of the bookstore, and only stocks extremely rare, hard to find books that nobody wants. And so it's Christmas time, and she starts to get people to come into the store through all sorts of fun means, and saves the store. And so now she is running the store. There's also definitely a romance in there, which I won't even touch on. Okay, so now back to the Christmas Guest, a very different kind of book. This is by Peter Swanson. This one says, Ashley Smith is an American art student in London for her junior year, was planning on spending Christmas alone, but a last-minute invitation from fellow student Emma Chapman brings her to Starvewood Hall. That's not an ominous name at all. The country residence of the Chapman family. The Cotswolds Manor is festooned in pine boughs and crammed with guests for Christmas week. It's a dream come true for Ashley. She's mesmerized by the cozy firelit house, and something's gonna happen. I don't know what. Something's gonna happen, and there's gonna be some kind of mystery, probably a murder, knowing Peter Swanson. It's gonna be weird and wild and dark, and this is very short, and I think I'm gonna love it. So, didn't really love the first Peter Swanson, didn't hate it, but didn't love it. But I think because of the length of this and the fact that it's Christmas, I think I am gonna love it. And then I got this one. This I pre-ordered. It's a tiny little thing. This is A Christmas Ghost Story, a chilling tale for dark days and long nights by Kim Newman. Kim Newman is the author of many things. What I love is the Drearcliff Grange School books. There's two of them. There's The Secrets of Drearcliff Grange School and The Haunting of Drearcliff Grange School. And I adored those books. They are so wildly weird and wonderful. They're the only things I've read by this author. I think he's more well known for some vampire books, some Dracula books, but he's got a ghost story for Christmas, and I am excited. I haven't read a word about it, and I'm not going to read a word about it now. I just know he writes spiritual light horror weirdness, and I love it. And it is going to be a ghost story, so his horror is very approachable. It's not terror, it's horror. So I'm excited, and I don't know what it's about, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. I have 3 more holiday ones. So I got Emily Stone's A Winter Wish. I've never read an Emily Stone, but this one, I hear she's a tearjerker. But this one appealed to me, so I'm gonna give her a try. This says, when Lexi learns of her father's death, she doesn't know how to feel. Actually, I do know the synopsis of this one. They both inherit. He is like the father's secretary or something, I don't know. But he inherits half of the business, she inherits half of the business, and they have to spend a year working together to make the business and keep the business viable before they can choose what to do with the business. And of course, they're gonna fall in love in the meantime. I also got this by Ali McNamara. I have never read an Ali McNamara, but this just sounded so much like my kind of book. So here we go. This is It Always Snows on Mistletoe Square. Oh, it's getting dark in here. Ellie is rudderless, jobless, and she's soon to be homeless. When she spies an advert that looks like it could answer all her problems, she's devastated to see one huge catch. Ellie does not love Christmas. Oh, I didn't read the beginning part. It says, wanted, experienced writer to record the history of one house and its family. Bed and board provided, the successful applicant must love Christmas. So she's at the bottom of her rope. She wants to apply for this job. She thinks it's a perfect fit, except she doesn't love Christmas. On Mistletoe Square, an eccentric elderly woman and her unconventional housekeeper have an enormous Christmas tree and a box of delicate decorations collected over what must be centuries. With each decoration comes a story, and with each story, a breathtaking glimpse of a Christmas past. One Christmas at a time, the house's history is brought vividly to life for Elle. But the more she sees of her family's past, the more she wonders where and how their story might end. And what of her own story? Is it possible that what felt like an ending might have been leading her here to a new beginning? Sounds delightful. And finally, for Christmas-themed books, we have Sarah Morgan. I read a Sarah Morgan last year or the year before, and I didn't like it, but I've read other Sarah Morgan that has been okay for me, so I'm going to give it a try. This is The Holiday Cottage. I do know the synopsis of this one. There's a Lola. She's looking out the window. People have been walking back and forth. How dare they? There's a... Hi, Lolo. Hi. What's up? What's up, Lolo? Can you do your head tilt? Yeah, do that head tilt. Lola, can you? Do you? Lola, do you want? Lola, do you want? Lolo, do you want a cookie? Do you want a cookie? Lola, do you want a cookie? Where are the cookies? Where are they? Lola, where are the cookies? She wanted a cookie. All right, here we go. The Holiday Cottage. So I do know what this one is about. She feels overworked, so she's kind of forced to take a holiday, and while at some cottage in the Cotswolds, things happen while she's taking a holiday on her own. I don't know. I'm hoping it's gonna be good. Anything that takes place in the Cotswolds is probably gonna be good. We do still have a stack of not holiday themed. I don't think I'll read all of those Christmas books. I just like to have options. Some years I want to read so many Christmas books, and some years I read one or two and I feel done, and I never know quite what I'm going to want going into it. So it is what it is. I don't think that I will read all of them, but I might. I also, though, have a stack of books that I would like to read that aren't necessarily holiday related. Two of them are books that I started at some other point this year and thought it's not the right time for these books. And then the rest of them are books that I've kind of been waiting till December to read. So the two that I'm going to revisit are one from Librarian versus Librarian that didn't feel like it was the right time of year for me to enjoy it, and I wanted to enjoy it. So that's The Lost Ones. Some Houses Are Never at Peace, Haunting and Emotionally Exquisite by Anita Frank. So I will be revisiting The Lost Ones. And the other is The Housekeepers by Alex Hay. Just didn't feel like the right time the last time I tried to pick this up. This felt more, for whatever reason, like a December, January book. So I will be trying to pick this up in December again. Then I have some that, for whatever reason, it feels clear to me, but may not feel clear to you. I have a bunch of books that feel like winter reads. One is Marvelous by Molly Greeley. I'm really excited about this one. This is a retelling of the true story that that Beauty and the Beast is based on. So it's about a man in the, 1700s in France who has that condition where your body grows a lot of hair all over your body. And he really existed, and he was collected, I think, by Catherine de Medici. I think she's the queen. Can you see Lola there? I think she's the queen that liked to collect interesting examples of humanity. And she created what she considered to be like a menagerie. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm saying this is what she did. She's going to arrange a marriage for him when he gets to a certain age. And this marriage is with the daughter of a man who can't pay a debt. So basically he gives his daughter to pay the debt. So I'm really interested in this. And then I have this one. Now I have read one series and one series only by this author. I've never read anything else by this author. And I love that one series that I've read by her so much that I often reread it in October time. That author is Nora Roberts, and that series that I love is I think the Cousins O'Dwyer. Yes, the Cousins O'Dwyer. So Dark Witch, Shadow Spell, and Blood Magic. I love that series so much. It surprised me greatly when I realized, wow, I really love this series. The books were given to me, and there's 3 of them, like I just said, and I read them all 3 in one weekend when they were given to me. And then ever since, I've kind of reread that series. Kind of like Winter Street by Ellen Hildebrand. These are books that wouldn't necessarily be books that I would ever think that I would love, but I love them so much. So I love the Cousins O'Dwyer trilogy, and I love Winter Street. I'm not rereading any Winter Street this year, but I usually do around this time. Cousins O'Dwyer, I usually read around October on the down low. I don't usually put it on any kind of TBR because it's just kind of what I do. I just reread that series. So I've never read anything else by Nora Roberts but that series. And this is the first Nora Roberts book that I've actually purchased for myself. It's the first in a series that I think looks really good. I love the cover art. The second book is coming out in a couple of months, maybe this month. Maybe January. I don't know. It's coming out soon. I was able to get this from Book Outlet, and I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I don't know that I can remember exactly what the synopsis was, though. So I'm going to read the synopsis until I remember what it's about. It says, after finding her fiancé in a compromising position with her cousin, Sonia McTavish needs an escape. When a lawyer turns up on her doorstep, out of the blue with news that she has inherited a beautiful Victorian house. That's what did it. That's what did it. People daydream about a lot of things, but that would be my daydream. That someone would just knock on my door one day and say, hey, here's a beautiful Victorian house. And for me, I would need it to be livable, like I could live in it. Running water, bathroom, heating, and electricity, all intact. Lockable doors. But other than that, I would love it to be old and run down so that I could love it back to life. That is my daydream. So a livable Victorian handed to me by someone who just like is like, hey, guess what you get? So it does not surprise me that I was very excited about this book. So here we go. When a lawyer turns up on her doorstep out of the blue with news that she has inherited a beautiful Victorian house, Sonia thinks maybe this is just the change of scene she needs. The house, nicknamed Lost Bride Manor, is beautiful, the setting idyllic, and not at all a red flag. And the Lost Bride Manor. And the local town offers Sonia the small town comforts she craves after life in a big city. So what if there are sometimes shadows in the windows, objects move of their own accord, and music starts playing out of nowhere? Sonia can live with the house being a little haunted. I too could live with my Victorian house that someone is just going to give to me being a little bit haunted. Just a little bit, mind you, and just the slightest little bit. But things soon start to take a darker turn, and it becomes clear that Sonia has inherited far more than a house. She has inherited a centuries-old curse. No curses. No curses in my house, please. And a puzzle that she must solve if there is any hope of breaking that curse. Yeah, I know exactly why I was excited about this book when I heard about it. Very, very, very certain I will be reading this book. So, that's The Inheritance. The Lost Bride trilogy. Again, the second book comes out very soon. I don't know when the third book comes out, but I think Nora Roberts is pretty quick with the releases. So we shall see. Here I have, let's do it this way. Here I have 2 books that will be revisits for me, but I haven't revisited them in very, very long times. One is a Madeleine L'Engle. I can't get away without reading a Madeleine L'Engle this year. I've already read one, but this will be my second one this year. I love her so much. Last year I reread the Austen Family series, and that was such a joy, and I've been craving more. So I'm going to reread Camila by Madeleine L'Engle. This one, do I remember? 15-year-old Camila Dickerson has led a sheltered life on the Upper East Side of New York with her architect father and stunningly beautiful mother. But this winter, the security she has always known is vanishing as her parents' marriage begins to crumble, and Camila is caught in the middle. She finds a way to escape her troubles when she meets Frank, her best friend's brother, who is someone she can really talk to about life, death, God, and her dream of becoming an astronomer. As Camila and Frank roam the streets together, lost in conversation, and he introduces her to people who are so different from those she had met before, he opens her eyes to worlds beyond her own, almost as if he were a telescope helping her to see the stars. Yeah. So the first time I read this, the only time I read this, was probably back in 2007. I think it was the winter, it was my second winter back in the States after having lived overseas. And I saw it at the library. It was a Madeleine L'Engle I'd never heard of before. Grabbed it, read it, and remember really loving it, but kind of didn't think about it again. So yeah, it's been a really long time since I read this book, and I got a copy of it. I think I got it from, yeah, this is a library book, so I must have gotten it, used library book. So I must have gotten it from Better World Books, and I'm really excited to reacquaint myself with that. And this one I read about the same time, maybe a year or two later. This is Justine Picardi's Daphne. If I remember correctly, this has some kind of sense of, or connection to, or storyline of reincarnation. I don't remember quite how that works into this, and I actually might be wrong about that. But I also know that it's about Daphne du Maurier. It's got dual timelines, I think. So it's about a person in the present, then there's the Daphne du Maurier storyline, And it's about Daphne du Maurier during the time when she's writing the infernal world of Branwell Bronte. So it is also about Branwell Bronte. And everything in here, and I believe there is a reincarnation through line, I'm not sure. But this just, I read it only once. I want to read it again. And I was able to find a copy in a little free library, and I grabbed it. I recognized it instantly. It's one of those kinds of books that you get from the library. You don't really know what you're getting into. You read it, you love it, and then you return it, and you kind of have a ghost filmy memory of it, but you know you loved it. This was pre-Goodreads for me, pre-anything. This was such a long time ago, but it stuck with me. And then when I saw it, but I couldn't quite grasp what it was. I couldn't remember it enough to remember how to find it again. When I saw it in the little free library, I was like, oh, it's the book. So I'm excited to reread that. I haven't read the back because I just want to kind of go into it. Then I have just three more. I have 2 fiction and a non-fiction. So first I'll share this one. I've been wanting to read a Marcia Willett. I've never read a Marcia Willett, and I think A Week in Winter is going to be the thing. If I remember correctly, or the one to get me involved in Marcia Willett, I hear she is compared or comparable to authors like Rosamund Pilcher, who I adore. And I'm reading my last big Rosamund Pilcher book, big to me. I'm reading Coming Home right now in November, and to think that from now on for me, unless I want to read more of her short romances, which I don't think I do, unless I want to read those, everything will be a reread of Rosamund Pilcher from this point forward for me. So I'm hoping Marcia Willett will provide some new stories in the same kind of vein. A Week in Winter, and I think, oh, it even says Rosamund Pilcher right here. I think that this is about like a family home, and there's a death in the family, and the woman wants to sell the house or something, and somebody comes to stay at it. I'm not sure, but it's a week in winter in a house, some family drama, and a romance. That's all I want to know. All I want to know. And then I do have, I believe, a reincarnation story. I like reincarnation stories around January, December. I don't know why. I just really like them. This is, oh, that's right. This could go so right, or this could go so wrong. Oh, that's right. I remember this storyline, and I remember feeling like I'm taking a huge chance. This could be a total tearjerker. I don't know. It really, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. So listen carefully. Mia Graydon's life looks picket fence perfect. She has the house, her loving husband, and dreams of starting a family, but she has other dreams too. Unexplained, recurring dreams starring the same man. Still, she doesn't think much of them until a relocation to small-town Pennsylvania brings her face to face with the stranger that she has been dreaming about for years. And this man harbors a jaw-dropping secret of his own. He has been dreaming of her too. Determined to understand, Mia and this not-so-stranger search for answers. But when diving into their pasts begins to unravel her life in the present, Mia emerges with a single question. What if? So, I don't know which way I'm going to want her to go. Stay with her husband, go towards the dream man, literal dream man. I don't know what's going to happen in this book. I have a feeling that it's not actually going to be a romance in any way. I have a feeling it's going to be something entirely different, and I hope it's something entirely different. This is by Colleen Oakley. I don't think I've ever read anything else by Colleen Oakley, unless she's the one who wrote the one about the husband on the island. You know what? She might actually be the one who wrote, yeah, she is. The Invisible Husband of Frick Island. So that was a romance, but it was not a romance. That was one where a woman believed that her husband was still alive. He'd gone missing at sea. He was a fisherman. But she really firmly, like she truly believed he was still alive and with her. And the whole island that they live on kind of fed this belief. Then this journalist comes to cover some other story, gets stuck on the island for a while, learns about her and her invisible husband, and a very interesting story unfolded from there. So I feel even more confirmed now that this isn't going to be a straight up like him story. This is something much bigger, and I'm excited about it and not so terrified of it now. Now that I realize, I'm glad that I recognize that name. Finally, I have one nonfiction. I've been reading a lot in November, but I've got one for December as well, and that is Enchantment, Awakening Wonder in an Anxious Age by Catherine May. Catherine May wrote Wintering, which I enjoyed, which was about grief and quieting yourself. And this one is about wonder, and I'm excited about wonder. I'm going to be reading multiple books about wonder throughout and awe throughout the year 2025. But I am excited about reading this. I may read this across the whole month. I read Wintering twice. The first time I read it very quickly and didn't feel satisfied. And the second time I read it very slowly and loved it. So I probably will do the same with Enchantment. That's it. I do also want to say while I'm here, and I'll probably say it again at the end of my November wrap-up video, but I do want to say that in December, I am going to try to post every single day, 31 days. 31 days. I'm not going to record every day. I'm pre-recorded quite a bit, but I am going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to call it Vlogmas or if I'm just going to post a video every day. I think I'm just going to post a video every day, but I might call it Vlogmas. We'll see. It's not really vlog stuff. I've got a lot of normal videos that I need to post, normal end of the year videos. So I need to post a favorites video, favorites of the year, a January TBR, a December wrap up, birthday book haul, because my birthday is next month. And then I also, of course, will need to do my first video for the Books Love Everyone book club. So that'll be about Jane Eyre and Praying with Jane Eyre, which are our first two choices for the year. So this is a video dedicated to that. And then I also will need to do a goals video for January, or a goals video for 2025. And so I just have a lot of videos that I need to post next month. And I figured as I was mapping them out on the calendar, I was like, you know what? I might as well just do a video a day. Honestly, I'm already posting so much. I might as well do a video a day. So I think what I'm going to do, I have a couple of other like surprise things, a couple of tags that I want to do, a couple of other like focused videos that I want to do, and maybe my part 2 of Wuthering Heights, but I doubt it. That didn't actually make it on the calendar, but it's in the back of my head. But also I thought, you know what would be super easy to do, but also nice and fun, would be on the days that I don't have like a specific video that I need to post, I could just read a winter poem and post that. And so I think that is what I'm going to do. If you have a favorite winter poem and you'd like me to read it, let me know. I do have enough on my own right now to choose from, but if you want to make a suggestion, I would love to know what your favorite winter poem is. Or alternatively, your favorite Christmas carol. I am not going to sing any Christmas carols. I sing all the time in class. In fact, one of the things that I do to get the kids quiet is start singing. And I often say, don't make me sing, but I'm not a terrible singer. I'm really quite a good singer. Actually, I can't read music or anything like that, but I have a nice voice. And the kids the other day, I was like, don't make me start singing. And they were like throwing Christmas Carol requests at me. So it backfired. But if you would like to share a poem or a Christmas Carol that you love, maybe I'll add it. Maybe I'll read it in one of the many days that I need a little filler around all of my end of year videos that I need to post. But yeah, I don't think I'll call it Vlogmas because I don't intend to like follow me around all day, every day. too much. It's too much. But I totally can swing, you know, walking home and reciting a poem, or reading a poem in my classroom and recording it and putting it up. Totally can do that and would like to do that. I think that would be really fun. Anyway, there's like about 7,000 books on my TBR, all physical, for the month of December. I do have a solid chunk of time off in the month of December, and it's cold and it's rainy and it might even start snowing in the month of December, so who knows, I might get some snow days, I might not get any snow days. We'll see. Thanks for being here. This is a really long video. My brain is a little bit all over the place today, but happy to be here with you. I think Lola has found something off the tree, so I'm gonna need, can you see her back there? That little tail under the tree. I think she's probably chewing something she's not supposed to be chewing. So I'm gonna go find out. In the meantime, let's go read.